This is the greatest thing about Trump. He will say the thing that everybody knows is true, but everybody in the UN is afraid to say. He exposes them in a way they've never been exposed before, and he did it in 45 minutes.
The UN needs to get their act together. Like, what a dump. What a clown show. That gets all this money from around the world, accomplishes nothing. Gets all this money from America, accomplishes nothing.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago Senator Dick Durbin. And now Dick Durbin has a new scheme, a government takeover of your credit card. Today, consumers have thousands of choices in credit cards, all with equal, strong security. But Durbin's plan is less competition and less security. And that means more risk for your credit and your identity. Tell Republicans in Congress, stop Dick Durbin's takeover of your credit card before it's too late.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Good Thursday to you. Welcome back to the Ruthless Friday program. I'm Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial. A lot going on here in the world and domestically. We're going to get to all of it. Make sure to check out our video, full video that we did last night and put it up on the ICE shooting in Dallas. I think you're going to find that content pretty compelling because we go through a full history of how it is that we've gotten here and who's to blame. The Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, and the clips up there on YouTube are fantastic. So definitely go check that out on YouTube.
Go check that out. But we also have a lot of other news to cover.
Yes.
You've all been aware of the fact that the President of the United States, as well as much of the administration, went up to New York for the UN, the United Nations big General Assembly this week. And I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me like Trump going to the UN, and I just sort of thought of this on the way walking into here. It's like Jordan in the Garden.
Yeah.
Dude, that is good.
Right.
Because it's like there's a hugely confrontational crowd. They know everyone hates him going in. It's the largest stage internationally. It's the only place where you know everyone is watching. Mm-hmm. And then he just deals out hard truths. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Trump gets better in that situation.
Yes.
He's like more comfortable with the uncomfortability of it than anyone I've ever seen on an international stage.
It's so funny you say that. I think it's also why he loves having these like open press sprays where he answers every question because I think he enjoys an adversarial environment.
Yeah,
like
it seems like
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I think that's when he has his best stuff. It's like a comedian who does crowd work and just wants to ask questions. You know, like that's when he gives you his best stuff.
It's true. And he just seems to get stronger and welcome the hate in a lot of ways. So the whole thing kicked off before they even walked into the joint in clip one.
I'm sorry, I'm the president. I'm really sorry.
That is the president of France, Macron.
I'm sorry. If you don't see it, let me cross.
For our audio-only listeners, he can't get in because the presidential motorcade has blocked him.
Guess what? I'm waiting in the street because everything is frozen for you.
And he's called President Trump
On the phone.
He's walking.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Sacre bleu. You got Pepe Le Pew working his way through New York.
Look at me. Voilà. Thank you.
Taking
There he
pictures,
is.
walking through. So what happened was he couldn't actually get to the United Nations building because the streets were shut down for Trump. Mm-hmm. And he had to get out of his car and start walking, and he calls Trump and asks Trump basically like, hey, can you do something about this? I'm stuck. I can't get out. And he's like, you're going to have to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he think America First meant?
Right? I mean, so he's on terra firma there in the United States, but as soon as you go to the UN, it's international soil. It's a hard concept for me to wrap my mind around. In the same ways that, like, embassies, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but embassies in Washington, D.C., and there's a million of them. Every shitty country you've ever thought of has got some palatial building. But those are actually not American territory.
Not in my book.
right? As I agree with you.
Yeah.
I've
They're
always
all ours. Even the ones overseas, they're all ours.
I totally agree with this, but they are, from a diplomatic standpoint, the territory of the country that they represent. The UN, in the smack dab in the middle of Manhattan, is not American territory because it's
Which is just
the UN.
wild. I mean, nothing talks about the magnanimity of the American people quite like the idea that we give some of the most important real estate in Manhattan, of all places, right over to the Euros and
Right.
the UN and everybody else who does nothing.
And you did some research on this. Turns out they don't pay taxes.
Yeah,
on
it doesn't,
any of
it doesn't appear that they pay property taxes. They don't seem to pay sales tax. The only people who pay tax are the Americans who have regular jobs at the UN building. So if you're there cleaning up
Not to mention the
place,
traffic jams, dude. Like the East Side highways right where they are just it makes
Buddy,
the whole town
I was
horrible.
in Manhattan
That's what I'm
on
telling you.
Tuesday, and it was a parking lot.
Yep.
You couldn't get anywhere.
Every time they do this to us.
It terrible, but all of that leads to this lead up to clip 2, which you've probably seen, but I think marks an important distinction about what we're talking about.
And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
Think about that, dude. Like, think about like coming into this building in New York and you're Donald Trump, president of the United States, and this whole place exists under your good graces.
Yes.
Right? And you show up and the teleprompter doesn't even work.
You're the guy that they're
Yeah.
choosing not to have the A team on.
Yeah.
Incredible, right? And we're going to get into the second component of this, clip 2B.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood.
and they're all laughing.
And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
So, I mean, look, we've all seen the video by now of the escalator situation, which ranges from a security concern, which
Yep.
is probably very real, to what Carolyn Levitt pointed out, in that there were UN employees that were joking in I think it was a London publication, about how they would perhaps stop the escalators, just to kind of prove that they needed more funding for the UN.
Ridiculous. U.S. gives more money to the UN than any other country in the world.
I'm so done with them, man. I'm so done with them. Like, it is an absolute security risk, especially for President Trump, who has had no. I mean, I think just the day that happened, one of his assassins
Yeah,
was found guilty
convicted.
and tried to stick a pen in their own neck. Like, they need to get their act together. They need to get their act together. President Trump needs to, at all times, be extremely safe and secure with a full appreciation and understanding of the number of times there have been attempts on his life. Number 2, the UN needs to get their act together. Like, what a dump. What a clown show that gets all this money from around the world, accomplishes nothing. Gets all this money from America, accomplishes nothing.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, put Donald Trump's record of peace up against the UN.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, and he proceeded to go
He
through
rightfully did.
proceeded to go through that, right? And
Yeah.
so he just makes a scathing case to the UN of like, you guys don't do shit.
Right.
First of all, your building sucks. My experience today has been terrible. Second of all, I'm the one that's doing the peacekeeping around
Yeah.
here. What are you people up to?
Yeah.
I've 7 different occasions solved global conflicts on my own, and I didn't even get so much as a call from you people. I love this
Yep.
about Trump.
Yes.
too.
It's like, for the most part, every American president at some level has gone into that venue and had a point that they wanted people to follow. But it's like basically one point that is a major priority internationally that he's trying to drive the UN towards. And then they make nice and they talk about common goals. And they do whatever. Not Trump. Trump walks into that thing and he's like, I've got a lot to say here. I've got a listing of grievances to start with. Second of all, I got a lot of things that you guys are doing shitty that I think I'm going to tell you about. and make you super uncomfortable because nobody else in this room or this shitty compilation of United Nations are going to discuss if I don't. And you all recall the first time around when he went in 2017. Oh, he's so confrontational. Oh, what is he doing? Oh my gosh, we're gonna lose so much respect in the world. And what he was talking about is ponying up for their mutual security. And they all laughed him out of the room. They're like, oh God, he's just an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And 5 years later, they're all racing to double the commitment that he asked them to make because they knew he was right. And then the second thing that he talked about is, does it make a lot of sense that you people are buying energy from somebody that you formed an entire alliance?
Yeah, the whole NATO
to
alliance.
try to prevent? You know, like you got an entire security thing that you want us to be a part of here, except for you're the one that are funding the primary reason its formation was caused in the first place.
Right. This is the greatest thing about Trump. He will say the thing that everybody knows is true, but everybody in the UN is afraid to say. He exposes them in a way they've never been exposed before, and he did it in 45 minutes. He walked up the escalator, he had no teleprompter, and he exposed them in a way that, like, if you know, one of the things that drives me nuts, if you talk to anybody who's going up there or doing anything around the UN General Assembly, they call it UNGA. Did you guys ever notice
God,
this?
I know that.
They're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he's going up to UNGA.
Oh,
And it's
UNGA.
it's like, come on, man. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the UN. We send them money. They don't do shit. And it's like, what is the difference between the real UN and the model UN that all the nerds did in high school? Literally, the only difference is that those nerds' parents pay taxes, and the UN doesn't pay taxes. There's
love
no
that
difference. There's no difference.
That's such a great take. It's all kayfabe.
Yeah.
It
Right?
is.
It's like, oh, the cables and transmissions and discussions and and they don't ever do shit.
But
They
it's,
don't do
I think
shit.
it kind of speaks to a larger point, whether it's the UN or the State Department or this sort of foreign policy blob as it exists in the United States. We saw all this pushback when Elon was trying to do the Doge cuts on everything.
Yeah.
You know, from the Institute to Peace to the
USAID.
training, surgeries in Tanzania or whatever. But it's like these are august bodies beyond reproach.
Right.
Right.
Cannot speak this
Right.
way.
In our media, and everyone has just sort of like, I don't know, given these people a pass to just do nothing.
Totally.
And exist to sniff their own farts.
Dude, it's so true. It's like if you have a white tablecloth with 57 forks, all of a sudden we got to take that shit seriously.
Right.
Like, no, we don't. Fuck you.
Right.
We don't have to take any of that seriously, especially when you're relying on our tax dollars in our building. And by the way, we're the ones that are solving your fucking conflicts.
Right.
Along those lines, could we get clip 5 real quick?
Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Dude, it's just him at his best. It's Jordan at the Garden.
My favorite line there is, "It's too bad. It's, It's really too bad that the UN didn't even help." That's so good. He's trolling them in real time.
Yes.
And it's huge because, like, there's silence from the crowd because, like, what is this accountability? Is this guy giving facts of how, like, we don't accomplish shit and he had to and he did it without us, and it seems like we're pretty useless. Thank God.
There's a clip. I think we do have a windmills clip.
Yes.
I don't want to get too far ahead, but I don't know what he's going to play.
It's clip 4.
Okay,
We're
clip 4.
getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. And they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot.
Off script.
Most expensive energy ever conceived, and It's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies.
He's 100% right.
He's 100% right, and he goes on in that segment to say, the Chinese, they're building the windmills and they sell them all over the world.
Yeah.
They don't use windmills in China.
That's
And
it.
it cuts to the Chinese ambassadors, and they're just sitting there, kind of like,
Yeah, they're like,
He's
They're like,
fucking-
bro, you're messing with our business.
bro.
Don't tell these people.
He's like, they're making the money.
Don't go into the batteries. Don't go into the batteries. Don't go into the batteries. Don't go into the batteries.
They've got hundreds of coal-fired power plants.
I mean, they're like, it's incredible. He's unmasking all of this stuff, and really, we talked about it on the show on Tuesday about the energy whole component, which is something he revisited back from the first administration. Everybody reluctantly agreed. It makes no sense to power your adversary, so they're like, I know, we'll follow Greta Thunberg down the road of shutting off every way of producing power except for windmills and water. And that's not working either. Maybe China can help us out.
Right.
And it's the same fucking thing that they just did with Russia.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that's having this discussion. Meanwhile, the rest of them are thinking about trying to figure out what the fourth antipasta is, and the fifth fork that they're working on. And they're trying to figure out how it is that they can name a third Palestinian state. Fuck you.
Bro dropped antipasta.
I mean, it's true.
America's demand for energy is rising rapidly, and at a time when American families can least afford an energy shortage. But for decades, critical energy projects have been blocked, limiting our access to reliable, affordable American energy and putting America's energy dominance at risk. The solution is obvious. Overhaul the broken energy permitting process. Make it faster and simpler. Innovation, a strong workforce, abundant oil and gas. We have it all right here in the USA. Let's put America first and political agendas last. We can power our own country, create thousands of good-paying American jobs, and unleash American energy to be bigger and better than ever before. Because when America builds, America wins. Read API's plan to secure America's future at permittingreformnow.org. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
So, all right. So then he gets into the other hard truth that nobody else is talking about. Let's play clip 3.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders.
So important.
Yeah. Why did no clap? Why did no?
Because they don't want to hear it. They're busy trying to cater to. If you're wondering why it is that the UK is recognizing a Palestinian state when they know that it's not in their interest and when they know Israel's been the only ally in the region to their particular country, it's because they have so many Palestinian people in their country that it's now a voting demographic issue. And they're making domestic policy based on the electoral politics of political parties within the UK. This is happening in Germany. This is happening all through Scandinavia, by the way.
Right.
It's happening throughout. And this is the thing, in my mind, that I go back to in 2017 when he went there and was like, don't do your energy thing the way you're doing it. Maybe pay for your mutual defense. And then 5 years later, they all show up and they're like, you were right, we're going to do all that. This is the thing.
Yeah.
Either by the will of the voters in those countries or by necessity through God knows what, they're going to come back 5 years from now and be like, yeah, he was right.
Dude, and for so long, the left has been attacking us as conspiracy theorists. Oh, it's replacement theory. The globalists trying to do migration engineering. Can I just tell you that in the year 2000, the UN printed a 177-page white paper. Would you like to know the title of this paper?
Please.
Replacement migration. That was literally the title of an official UN document. And here we are in 2025, 25 years later, and Trump's like, It's a problem.
Just
And the left is like, no, you can't talk about that.
Just imagine the amount of tie adjusting that goes into writing a paper like that. Oh, let me think. Fifth fork, please.
They're
Fuckers.
insane. They're insane.
I mean, it's totally nuts. So it leads us to our question of the day. Should Trump deport the UN?
Excellent question.
Yep.
Should he deport?
Excellent question.
I say hell yes. Get them the hell out of here. You've got prime real estate in New York City, none of which apparently they pay taxes upon. All it does is clog the streets. And then when our president of the United States, and this alone, I don't care if it's Barack Obama or Donald Trump. I loathe Barack Obama. But if they stop his ass in an escalator and try to embarrass him on a world stage that happens to be in our country by not putting on a teleprompter. And by the way, Katie Pavlich, who was in the venue, also said they turned down the audio so nobody could actually hear him.
I saw that, yeah.
Right? Like, if you're doing that to an American president, you know what? Get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Let's see how the Gaza Riviera treats you.
Yeah.
Like, go headquarter that thing in Shanghai. Let's see how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, get them out.
UN has a really good track record of colluding with Hamas terrorists to build terror tunnels. So maybe they could put the headquarters down there.
Honestly, you know, it would that
Great
building
infrastructure.
and that
Yeah.
space.
Just
is,
get UNRWA on that.
that
Familiar with the territory.
the building in that space that they have would be ideal for an ICE facility. I mean, the number of illegals you have in New York City, you can get them right there on the East
Look,
Side
we're
Highway.
solving two problems.
You could even ferry them in. It's got access to the water.
Perfect.
Well, you can start with detaining those diplomats.
Yeah, first.
I mean, I've hated the UN for as long as I could
Yeah.
breathe. Yeah. They've always been a problem. They've always been terrible. But what they just did to the president and their lack of understanding of real world stuff in their own countries.
Enough's enough.
Him having to explain this is happening in your country that you were elected to lead. And
Yeah.
they're like, that's give me the fifth fork. And then they come back 5 years later, inevitably. Yeah, you're right.
For all our younger listeners and viewers, do yourself a favor and Google the oil for food scandal out of the UN. That'll really illuminate all the peace they're providing.
It'll give you a
horrible.
good inclination
Yeah.
as to what motivates that outfit. So
Yeah.
when you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, just leave your comment. Should Trump deport the UN? We read them all. We're going to get back to you on Friday,
Yeah.
Fun Time Friday,
Fun time.
about all of that. But we also asked a question on Tuesday, which was, what should Trump say at the UN? And you guys provided an awful lot of content on that. To do it, we start with a voice.
Okay, first comment from Amber Penudo. And Amber writes, in the spirit of one of our most treasured American icons, Eric Cartman, quote, screw you guys, I'm going home. Amber is really funny.
Very well. I would just want an adaptation. You're going home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're right.
Comment 2, please, Harunks.
This is from Tosh Faratu. They write, I think it would be amazing if President Trump had aides pass out candles and matches to the UN members and then have the power shut off to the building before they have their meeting. That would make the point, I feel. That or a 30-day eviction notice would do the trick.
This
There
is
it is.
clairvoyant.
There it is.
And it also shows that by them doing the equivalent of the power shut off to our own president, the kind of like arrogance that these people have.
It's really tough to read the menu of antipasti
It
by
is.
candlelight.
It is. It's difficult. They should do it in Gaza.
A 30-day eviction time frame is very generous,
I agree.
I would say. I think it speaks to the
I agree.
American spirit.
That is. It's a kind of thoughtfulness that we provide on the international stage, no question. Smug, what do we got? Comment 3.
Comment 3 is from Pat Forrest. Pat writes, since the United Nations is completely corrupt and useless, I am signing an executive order to give all of this property to our great Veterans Affairs Department
Yay!
to renovate into housing for veterans. You have 90 days to evacuate. You're fired.
Dude,
Yeah.
people
Hell
get
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Hell
they
yeah.
do.
This is
Great
ahead of time.
ideas.
This is before this disaster
Yeah.
unfolded.
Great ideas.
Really good stuff. Our listeners are the absolute best. Remember,
do.
when you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, you leave your comments. We read all of them, or we get back to you the very next episode and read them back to you.
Only 58% of Americans today say they're proud to be American, the lowest number ever recorded. That's not just sad, it is very dangerous, because if we forget what makes America special, we risk losing it. That's why Americans for Prosperity is launching the One Small Step campaign, a bold nationwide initiative to reconnect Americans with our founding principles that sparked unparalleled innovation and prosperity. It's not just a celebration, it's a call to action. Through the 250,000 Steps for Freedom Challenge, AFP is partnering with the grassroots in all 50 states to take meaningful steps that defend freedom and advance opportunity. Call your representative, attend a local event, knock on a door, talk to your neighbors. Every single step counts, and every step moves us closer to a more perfect union. Go to takeonesmallstep.com to learn more, then join the challenge at afpvolunteer.com.
You guys ready for a lightning round?
Yes.
Always.
All right, so we got some stuff here, and this one we've been saving up.
This
You've
is
seen a little
good.
bit from a lot of places, but not like you get on Ruthless. Kamala's book tour.
Oh, boy.
Boys, it's not going well.
I think it's going great. For content. For content, it's phenomenal.
No, it's going great for us, but it's not so much for Kamala. I don't know what the whole hope of this was, but clearly they weren't selling a lot of books and they had to just get rid of a whole bunch of excerpts on the front end. Like they basically read out every good piece of this
Pre-orders must not have been great.
garbage book to every news outlet, and they all reported on it, and then they sent her out on a bunch of interviews. And like the first interview, you were immediately reminded why she's an author and not the president. Like she was just fucking terrible. Anyway, the first one is so good. Clip 6.
It made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
She's talking about Buttigieg. She said
No
she
matter
would be.
how, I've been
he would
an
be her
advocate
pick.
and an ally of the LGBT community my entire life. So it wasn't about yeah, right. So it wasn't about any prejudice on my part, but that we had such a short period of time, and the stakes were so high. I think Pete is a phenomenal public servant. And I think America is and would be ready for that.
For that.
But when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, and maybe I was being too cautious. I'll let our friends, we should all talk about that. Maybe I was. But that's the decision I made, and I, as with everything else in the book, I'm being very candid about that.
Yeah.
With a great deal of sadness about.
Oh, a great deal of sadness.
The fact.
Seems pretty sad.
There's
might
a
have been a
great
risk.
deal of it.
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
All I heard was her saying, Mayor Pete, he speaks so well. He's so well spoken. And I'm not prejudiced, but I didn't pick him because he's gay.
The best part is, so she's on the Rachel Maddow show explaining to the gay lady, like, so here's why the gay guy was a problem.
I only had 107 days. How could I teach them to know a gay guy?
Yeah,
You know?
he was my first pick, but he was gay.
And then she's like, I'm
and
not
then
the
I
bigot
had-
here. It's just that the American people are the bigots here.
Exactly. And then I had this really popular Jewish guy in a state that I needed to win, but he's a Jew.
Yeah.
Couldn't pick him either.
We can only expect
Right?
so much from the American people.
And it's
Their
not.
fault. Their
It's
fault.
not
Their
that
fault.
I'm a homophobe or an anti-Semite. It's that the American people are.
Yeah.
You know?
I
And
gotta
well-
say, dude, like when this book got announced, I was like, I think it's gonna be entirely written in dull crayon. And it isn't. It's written with sharp knives for basically everyone in the Democratic Party she can blame instead of herself.
It's so good. I mean, can you imagine coming up with a construct where you have said out loud that the American people, it's not you, were so busy doing the racisms and the sexisms
And the homophobia.
misogynies
Yeah.
and the homophobias that you couldn't quite take on the homophobias because the racisms and the sexism, and by the way, the anti-Semitisms were out there too. And so, but we're just replete. There's so many voters with it. In order to compete to lead this great country of ours and get the kind of strong leadership that she desires, she certainly cannot have a black woman with a gay guy on the ticket. I mean, that's a fucking confounding
But
statement.
also, less funny, it's so insulting to have the DEI pick be like, oh, this country's too bigoted to accept. It's like, you got that job because the DEI.
Not a
like,
single
we're
person
so
voted
sick
for
of
her.
this.
No one voted for her.
Not a single person voted for this woman.
In fact, she called Joe Biden a racist in that debate, and her reward for that was being vice president of the United States. And now she is going to judge America
Bingo.
for America's failings.
Yeah.
Which is just such an arrogant thing to do.
So arrogant.
It's just a meritless political party.
Yeah.
Where they claim to be on the side of like gay rights, and then don't put somebody on the ticket because he's gay. They claim to be on the side of black people, but they're worried about the black component of what it is that they do. Like, it never occurs to them that just like governing the country is what people are interested in.
Right?
Like, maybe secure our borders, you dumb fuck.
That's the thing. It's like,
You know?
their heads are so tied up to this idea of like checking this box and everything's based on this identity and everything is based on this social it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, what the American people want is a competent leader to make this country better. Like, how is it that difficult for you to understand?
They really are meritless. I think that is such an important point, because if you look at what Democrats were 20 years ago, agree with them or not, you had a Southern governor who could talk really well, and he was kind of presenting as a moderate, and he was their candidate. And then there was a woman who would stop at absolutely nothing for power, and she was their candidate. And then there was Obama, like one of the greatest salesmen in American history. He was their candidate, and now they've got nothing.
The other thing that's fascinating to me is like the Democrats in this autopsy are having a lot of discussions about how none of this is Kamala Harris's fault. We couldn't have the Jewish governor from Pennsylvania. We couldn't have the gay guy, Pete Buttigieg, on the ticket. That would be a bridge too far. But at no point is it an introspection why a black woman did the worst with the black vote for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nobody
talks about that.
Nobody talks about it.
Isn't that just bizarre?
They're like,
Hilarious,
well,
dude.
because
Dude,
nobody
good point,
thought you were
Duncan.
capable of doing the job,
Yeah,
lady.
yeah.
That's so funny.
That's
dude.
why.
Great point.
It's so true, dude. I mean, nobody does that introspection. So, all right, but she's not done. Of course, she's got thoughts on the current president, Clip
Yes.
7.
And right now, we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used
My
to compare
speech on the
the strength
ellipse.
of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald Trump. And these
What is she even
titans
talking
of industry
This is still
are not
Maddow.
speaking up. And perhaps it is because his threats and the way he has used the weight of the federal government to take out vengeance on his critics is something that they fear, and I get that.
That's a Kimmel reference, I think.
Oh my goodness, dude, her speech on the ellipse,
My
like it's
speech-
like it's the
what?
Brandenburg gift. Nobody even watched it. Nobody cared.
I swear to God, I don't know what she's talking
Same.
about.
No, okay, do you remember? Okay, so I do remember
do
this.
remember
I
this?
remember this. So she was going to have this big speech on the ellipse to sort of like frame the election as like an authoritarian Donald Trump.
remember.
Democracy.
Down the stretch?
Yeah, democracy's at stake and all that sort
Okay.
of stuff. Because remember, this is when they were going out on the road with Liz Cheney
Yeah,
and
yeah,
appealing
yeah.
to the never Trump
Yeah.
fictional movement that exists that's 5 people at a think tank.
Yeah.
Right? And they thought that was going to be their governing majority. These fucking idiots. But she did that whole ellipse. And she thought she was gonna like have like 1,000 articles written about how great she was and what a great
Right.
speech it was.
Transformational.
And then Joe Biden stomps on the whole thing, being like, "Listen here, Jack. Trump voters are garbage."
That's what dude, you're
Now
right.
I remember it.
Dude, that's it. That was it. Dude, that was it. Oh my God. Dude, you're so Dude, Duncan, that is so clutch because we're all like, why do none of us remember it? And like, here's why.
Because of Joe Biden.
why.
came out and called us all garbage.
That's why.
And then Trump jumped into the garbage truck and it was like,
Dude, I forgot all about that. That is such a good poll.
I have this like weird tism in my brain that makes me the Library of Alexandria for all of this shit that happens.
But also just the idea that he's like the communist dictator. Like they literally didn't have a single American vote for her.
Yeah.
She got within a dick hair of the fucking presidency without anyone ever casting a ballot for her. Like, think about that.
In 2 elections.
And he's the communist dictator? I thought I understood what the definition of a dictator was. I thought it was preventing people to vote for things.
Yeah.
And she's got a different definition. Anyway, she's not done. Clip 9.
Will you consider running in 2028?
That's not my focus right now. It's not my focus at all.
I
Not
know
my
really
focus.
isn't.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're not considering it now, but are you saying when you said you're not going to run for governor of California?
Correct.
Were you saying you are never going to run for anything ever again, or were you just saying I'm not going to run for that office right now?
That was the decision before me, and I made the decision not to run for governor of California.
It's just a classic Kamala Harris. It's like, no, it's a very simple question. Are you going to run for something or not?
There's a specific moment in that clip that we just showed. This is also why you should be on YouTube to see the video clip of where like her and Rachel are, like nodding to each other, and she like kind of was like, yeah, because like very clearly they knew that they would be asked that question, and her staff coached her for it. Because you can see in that second that like Rachel was kind of like, "This is didn't you rehearse this, you stupid fuck?" Like,
how do you not have an answer for this?
It's the one that the MSNBC, the producer, is like, hey, just so you know, Rachel's going to ask you if you're going to run for president in 2028. And they're like, no problem.
And like, we got it. And like, Kamala's like, yeah, I know. And like, really? Like,
and they thought, that is not my focus at the time.
Yeah.
That is not my focus at this time.
I didn't run for governor because that was a decision before me.
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
She's going to run in 2028.
Vote because things are gay or black.
Yeah. She's going to run in 2028.
I mean,
do you really think she's going to run in 2028?
Yeah, she's.
I think she's going to put something together.
Who is going to work that campaign?
Nobody.
So.
Dude, it's the same clowns.
No way.
Dude, I guarantee it's the same clowns. Like,
I don't know.
What's his name? The Ian Sams or Sims?
Yeah, Sims.
That guy's got no other job. No one is going to hire him.
I've seen some excerpts from her book. She shit all over everybody who worked for her.
And that's
so
what
she's gonna have to find a whole new crop.
She famously treated her staff like trash. But when you have zero talent and nothing, because like the problem with this generation of Democrat operatives is they saw all the Obama people, they got jobs at like Amazon, Coca-Cola, and they all cashed in hard off Obama's name.
Yeah.
And so the whole reason they signed up for the job is they're like, listen, when we get out of here, we're all going to be just like set with these jobs. None of the Biden people can get jobs. They're all getting subpoenaed by Jamie Comer.
Yeah.
Kamala people, you think they're getting jobs? Like zero. There's nothing out there for them. These are talentless losers.
Let me just tell you.
Nothing else.
One thing you're overlooking on that, though, is the way that this generation of Democratic operatives has processed small dollar giving in the multitudes and billions, quite literally, that has the possibility of raising, that they take a skim off of, is not insignificant. So when you look at somebody who raised, albeit unique circumstances, a couple of $1 billion.
It's insane.
You got to think that if Kamala even dabbles a foot in it, it's probably a $500 million operation no matter what. And for like, half dozen different operatives, that's worth it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that fundraising email copy? We're trying again.
Here we go.
We're going to give it. I know you gave me $100 last time and I blew it. This time I'll spend it wisely.
But you can write the copy. It's like, there's a war on women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep women in the kitchen. And then the next one is like, they're coming for blacks and gays.
Yeah.
Oh, they want to outlaw interracial marriages.
Dude, that'll be Kamala too. This time I will run with the gay dude.
Yeah.
He's allowed this time.
He's allowed.
Dude, but literally just think about how cynical and shitty everything that they're talking
Insanely
about.
cynical.
And contrast that with the Trump administration. I don't even care if you really like Donald Trump or not, but if you look at his administration, it's filled with women. It's filled with a whole bunch of people from a variety of different ideological standpoints, backgrounds, whatever. There's 2 Democrats that are in the cabinet. There's a real diversity of opinion and background and where everybody comes from. And then you look at her situation, and they're basically pigeonholing their entire political prognosis on your identity. Can't have the Jewish guy. We got a Michigan problem. Can't have the gay. Well, we have a black woman because they don't like all 3, which is hilarious. How do you? That's like, well, that's going to be the tipper's edge right there.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
To your point, Trump has gays and Jews in leadership positions in his administration.
Exactly.
The opposite of Kamala.
Exactly. So it's like if you just open your fucking eyes to anybody who's rational, of course the media won't do this. The contrast to where she is, what she is and what she's talking about, it hasn't stopped. Like they still think that. Yeah. They still live in that. Her whole explanation was that. It's unbelievable. Yeah. They've never learned anything.
Never.
All right, one last thing on this before we get to King of the Hill. It's a rundown from Harry Antonin at CNN about where she stands with the electorate in clip 9B.
I would just say that if you want a messenger to go against Donald Trump, you could do far better as Democrats than Kamala Harris. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at her net favorable ratings nationwide. You know, back in October of 2024, she was at -5 points. Not exactly great, but pretty close to the 0 mark, right? Pretty close to even. But now, down under she goes. She's at -13 points. That's an 8-point drop. Since the general election among the overall electorate, she is not well liked at this particular point. The American people, they don't want this. They don't want her. And get this, she's 37 points underwater with independents. If you can't win the independents, you can't win the election.
Do you know how hard that, like, just level set for our audience, do you know how hard that is to do, to be the candidate who loses in the presidential election and then is out of power, out of the limelight, doesn't get any of the criticism, and make it demonstrably worse? That's a very hard thing to do. Typically, you have a little bit of a rebound. People feel sorry for you. Yep. You have this magnanimous, concession speech, and they're like, you know what? He or she, they were a good guy. Maybe in their heart, maybe all those ads were wrong.
Even, like,
Mitt Romney
was a perfect example. Exactly. People were, like, taking a second look at him, being like, well, God, he did kind of get a raw deal.
Yeah, he might have been a nice guy after all, And, like, you would expect that with Kamala, but you're seeing the opposite.
Incredible.
Yeah. It's so true. Anyway, so that's our Kamala thing. It was a long time coming. We've been gearing up for that one for a while. Glad we could do it for you. Now we got to get to our signature game. It's King of the Hill. I believe I'm a judge this week.
That's right. I'm the bailiff.
You're the bailiff, and so we have two competitors.
Yeah, and I'm the defending champion with Rick Wilson
You've
on a tear.
You've had a long run.
On a tear. Yeah, and Ashbrook, you are bringing the challenger.
I'm bringing the challenger today, and this is a guy that we talked about retiring his jersey, but he wears a jersey that I don't think belongs anywhere near the rafters. It's Matt Dowd.
Oh, my God.
Bringing back Matt Dowd.
It's unbelievable. Okay.
Okay, let's go ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. It's time for King of the Hill. In the red corner, fighting from his own Blue Sky account, Matthew Mail Pattern Dowd. And now, in the blue corner, fighting formerly from the Daily Beast and the Lincoln Project, Rick Wilson.
Okay, I'll instruct the participants that we go in alternating order. We always start with the champion. So, Rick Wilson, you're up.
Okay. What to play first? I have so many interesting exhibits here. Okay. Can I get a lot of quote tweets? That's what makes this sort of tough, is because you have to reread the quote tweets to figure out what you're actually going to play.
Well, you can appeal to the bailiff.
I mean, this TikTok.
Oh, he's already. You've angered the bailiff.
Well, I'm sorry, bailiff. I'm trying to be.
Would you like the challenger to go first?
No, my God, dude.
No, I want exhibit number 7, please.
Nearly an unprecedented.
So this is a quote tweet of Aaron Rupar. I'll just summarize it to say it's a video of Trump with Zelensky talking about the war and Putin.
Got it.
And, Putin's a real keyword for these never Trump people. They're on it.
They love it.
Like moths to flame. He quote tweets it and he says, "Whatever Trump has on those tapes must be amazing." This is, of course, a reference to the debunked P tapes from the dossier.
Whatever Putin.
Yeah, whatever Putin has on those tapes must be amazing.
Okay. Whatever Putin has on those tapes. So it's a throwback
to the P tapes.
To the P tapes.
Which has been debunked, and the Old Steele dossier was debunked, and we had a 3-year investigation about that thing, and Mueller, went to Congress and said none of that was real, and he's still talking about it.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Challenger?
Yes, sir. Okay, exhibit number 17, please. And there is no quote tweet here. It's Matthew Dowd posting to Blue Sky. "I was sitting at the Truth Bar last week, sipping a drink by myself. And now so many more have joined the gathering. Welcome Jimmy Kimmel and Karen Attiah. Now it's a party."
Oh, is this like
my
the
God.
the unemployed bar? Is that this is
He's
amazing?
trying to insinuate that he led the way of truth tellers being canceled.
Oh,
Holy shit.
That's something.
it's interesting.
What a piece of garbage.
The amount of arrogance.
There's so much, and also, he's like super proud of being an absolute piece of garbage.
I also think that it's so funny that this guy puts himself consistently, like he's washed up, right? He's a political consultant who lost every job he could ever hold in the mid 2000s, so he became a Democrat. Tried to make his way in the news media and got fired from ABC because he was no good at that. Like tinkered around with politics, although he had to pull his run off because nobody would support him, and then worked his way back on MSNBC because it's a nice gathering ground for crazy people. He got fired from that too, and so now Jimmy Kimmel has followed his lead.
Yeah.
For that reason, he wins.
Yeah.
Incredible.
You know, I hate to lose the round, but I must say that was wise.
I mean, to call it a
This-
truth bar instead of just like the unemployed office is a
You should have
wild
started the
take.
tweet being like, "I'm going to do stolen valor right now." All this Jimmy Kimmel business really reminds me of how unfair my life is. It's so funny.
Look what you've done to me.
Yeah. Okay, Challenger, you got to go first.
Okay, exhibit number 18, please. And we'll point out for the judge here that he appears to be trying to post an image of a picture of a shirt he's selling that includes a quote on it, but in an internet foul, the picture does not show up on the tweet. However, you will notice in his caption, he writes, "Shirts available in both pink and black. Quote, hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, lead to hateful actions."
Well, that's
close quote.
That is the line, for those of you who are unfamiliar, that he said in the immediate aftermath of the shooting of Charlie Kirk that got him fired.
And those are the shirts he's selling
Now
in
he's
both
trying to
And he's
monetize.
selling shirts?
in pink and black.
He's selling shirts off of it.
It's what it looks like. Although
Holy shit.
This guy is a
No,
fucking
that's menace.
dude.
That we're talking about the depths of depravity. You better have a fucking rocket ship lined up, Duncan, because
I don't know how you-
it's been a long time since I've been this offended.
the most disgusting shit I think.
Can I get exhibit?
Look at Ashbrook smile, bro. The fuck?
Can I get exhibit number 5, please? So this is an interview from the memorial service for Charlie Kirk.
No.
And just to summarize,
God,
you know, this young man is talking to a reporter, talking about, you know, Trump and God, and you know, Trump is working for God.
Can I ask, because of the
He
short nature,
wants to help us.
Because of the short nature of this tweet, I think it is important that the court know what the retweet is. We don't do this all the time, but in this one, there is a depiction of an image.
I think it's fair, especially given our audio listeners.
I need to
Yeah.
know what that
Go for it.
quote tweet says.
And this is just a Trump supporter at a funeral service.
Yes.
Saying that Trump is a godly man. He's working for God. He really cares about us. He cares about what happens to us. And not for nothing, but if you followed politics for the last 10 years, you know that all of Trump's voters feel this way, that he sees them like no other politician has,
Yeah.
and that's why they've been so loyal to him. These are obvious things. He didn't come in there because he wanted money. He's actually working for God and wants to help us, and God is on his side. It's a nice sentiment.
A nice sentiment.
Also, this guy's been targeted for assassination twice. You have to think that maybe the
God.
Heavenly Father had a plan for Donald Trump, right?
So Rick Wilson responds to this.
Wrong guy, and puts up a photo of Satan.
My God. I mean, these people.
Yeah.
These people.
Former Republican consultant.
Former Republican consultant.
Ordinarily, this is a blowout victory for that.
Yeah.
Because I also have a question. Like, I assume he's talking about wrong guy, like Trump is the devil.
Or Trump's working for the
him.
devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump's working for the
Yeah.
devil.
Which is horribly, horribly offensive. But the idea that Matt Dowd was fired rightly for trying to suggest that Charlie Kirk had it coming, that's basically what it was. I mean, that's I don't think I'm like
No, that's why. That's what
mischaracterizing it. He was like ugly, I forget the exact quote, but that's what he said, and that's what MSNBC objected to. Do you have any idea what the bar the level is to get fired from MSNBC? Like, do you have like Joy Reid had the fake aliens abductor account with
the time traveling hackers who changed her blogs to
with
be,
the anti-Semitism and all that stuff in there, and like that one, she had a show on primetime for like 10 years after that.
Yeah,
the time traveling hackers.
Yes,
she didn't get fired. To cross that lexicon and to take what it is that you did to try to monetize T-shirt sales
in pink and black.
Holy shit! It's been a long time since I've seen that level of depravity.
Yeah.
I mean, we get crazy shit with like Sherry.
We get crazy shit, dude. But that is like,
I'm like almost out of breath. It's that bad. It's a 2-round knockout. It's unbelievable.
Rick Wilson. Rick had a good run.
He had a nice run.
Like mid 90s Cowboys.
I mean, it took an absolute monster.
It took a monster. And those takes are just hotter than blazing fire. Okay, well, I'm sorry we played that round again. I just feel like I'm 30% less as a result of it, but it is what it is, and we have a new champion. Anyway, we got to get to, there's a big thing that's happening this week with the government shutdown. It's all getting kind of organized, but rather than put you through a full segment, brought in an expert, AFP's Brent Gardner, who spends all his time on Capitol Hill. It's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. Well, when there are notable events under the dome in Congress, we always like to turn to our friend Brent Gardner of AFP. He keeps a monitor on these sorts of things, and it turns out there's some developments. People may want to shut down our government.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a development or a lack of development, but the American people are thinking that government's going to be remaining open, but not a lot of proof of that these days.
It's wild. I mean, we went back in June and we talked to Thune about this, and he predicted almost down to the minute what was going to happen based upon Chuck Schumer's reaction to the March CR and his base and almost getting thrown out of the job, and he kind of predicted that he would come with an unreasonable grouping of things that he required in order to keep the government open. Of course, Republicans and the President of the United States have laughed that out the door. But where it leaves us here at the end of September, with a September 30 deadline, is not a lot of answers for keeping the lights on in the Capitol.
Yeah. No, look, I think the American people expect them to get this done, but we're not seeing it. And look, I think the one thing that is also predictable was that, exactly as Thune said, Democrats were going to come with something unreasonable and unworkable, which I think is what a $400 billion permanent extension of ACA credits.
Right.
That, by the way, they established, extended, and chose the end date to. Democrats own all of this. And that's why the American people are going to look at this and say, these guys own the whole thing.
So hold on, Brent. I just want to make sure that I get this sequence of events correct. What they did is created Obamacare, right? Democrats did that.
Number one, step one.
Okay. And they told us that was going to make affordable health care.
Right.
That was more people could afford health care. And then looking at that, they decided that the taxpayer actually just needed to subsidize that so it could be affordable, because the construct that came up for affordability didn't actually work. We needed to give money to it to bring down the prices.
Nothing makes stuff more affordable when the government has a blank check. That's how it works.
It's amazing how that works. And so, so they did that, and then they extended the tax credits, extended it again until now. Lo and behold, the market portion of Obamacare, it didn't really do what it was designed to do.
Crazy.
And so now just the taxpayer is there to try to
backstop the whole thing.
Backstop their whole thing, which is now the crux of their policy. But now Republicans are doing something. Like, they're responsible for this.
I wish someone would have warned about this.
It's almost like somebody should have opposed that from the very beginning.
It's crazy. So, they start off with the American Rescue Plan. They create these subsidies. They extend them in the Inflation Reduction Act. And now here we sit today, and Democrats are actually advocating on the side of ensuring insurers' profit margins.
Yeah.
And Republicans are out there fighting for the working people of America. And that story's just not getting told enough. But look, at the end of the day, this is still a secondary thing. These things don't end until the end of the year. But ultimately, these are the kinds of demands that Democrats are bringing because they're not serious about ensuring that the government remains open.
You know, insurance profit margins aren't the only thing on the Democrats' list of demands. I also noticed that they want money from taxpayers for NPR and for PBS so that they can keep their media cheerleading outfit alive.
A taxpayer-funded propaganda outlet, if you will.
Yeah, open the coffers, guys. Everyone's here. You know, order off the menu. But like, I think Republicans have done a good job. Certainly the House did in saying we're not ready to do these crazy ideas. They sent it over there, and hopefully the Senate, we know they'll have an opportunity to take a vote on it. But the American people are not on the side of this stuff.
Yeah, so could you explain sort of the politics of that before we get into the polling, which I think is pretty dire for Democrats, but like what is the end game here for Chuck Schumer and these Democrats? Because they're coming with a laundry list of things that they want to have happen. They control nothing. And Republicans' demand is let's just fund the government. And so like how does the politics of that work out? Like how long can they actually hold out if this government shuts down?
Yeah, I think it's been fun to watch that question get asked in places that aren't ruthless.
Yeah.
Okay? I think it's been fun to watch people try and figure out what is Chuck Schumer's end game here. He's in a really tough spot. I wouldn't want to be in that spot because I know he's claimed that it's important that you keep the government open just a few times.
Yeah.
There's a great supercuts on
Annually
YouTube.
for
You gotta
about
look.
30 years.
Yeah. And look, Democrats don't want to see the government shut down. So what's the end game? I think it's trying to find a walk down. I think it's trying to find a way to do this. And, you know, frankly, I think Republicans have given a very reasonable expectation that, hey, we should keep the government open, but we don't need to take on these additional liabilities as we continue to drive our economy into the ground, a la what Joe Biden did
Right.
for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly right. So, look, you're up there, you're talking to folks. I mean, is it your expectation that the government shuts down?
Yeah, I hate to be the guy to say this, but I do think we're going to shut down. Hopefully it's a short one and that we can get, you know, America back to work on this. But the prognosis isn't long term. I mean, ultimately, it's very clear the Democrats are dedicated to finding a way to shut it down to try and accomplish some of these policy goals. And I think the American people are going to hold them accountable for it.
Talk me off the ledge of why I'd care. Like, because I look at this now, and I mean, this was sort of my job for a lot of years. Is like, we can't have a government shutdown. And there was this big, like, post-Newt Gingrich era of politics where Republicans are just blamed for government shutdowns over and over again. But now we went through this era where you get Democrats making demands in a triple minority position, which is unusual, honestly. It's that is when you don't have the White House, you don't have the House, and you don't have the Senate. It's an unusual position to be in to try to force a shutdown. So there's no, like, I think, confusion about who's doing this. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, like, do it. So you can't go to the national parks and you can call Chuck Schumer for a while. I know there's a lot of ancillary things about that, but I mean, you have a better view on this than I do.
Yeah, it's really bad for America.
Yeah.
It's really bad for us on the world stage. It's bad for us domestically because when we see the government shut down, there is a large portion of our economy that closes. Now, are there a lot of reforms that we'd love to see to some of the places that receive that funding? You betcha. But the challenge is the American people have faith in their government to exist, to provide services. And I think it's a bad look. It's a bad look for everybody. And even though we talk about who's to blame, and there's a winner and a loser declared every time of who ultimately is going to take it, the American people want to hold everyone accountable. They look at this across the board and think that government shutdowns are a bad thing. And so there's political accountability that comes with it. And the question of who takes it is kind of an open question. And it's going to be whoever wins the media war, not the policy one. And so I think from our perspective, it's important for Republicans to remain consistent. I think they've done a great job messaging so far and saying, look, we can't take these things that you guys want to do this and move it forward because it's bad for America. But we should keep the government open and we should have an opportunity to do that. And I think that's why we should care about it. We should care about it because we've lowered our expectations so far that we look at failure and say, is this the kind of failure that's okay to make it better?
You're right.
And it's not. And we should hold people to higher expectations in both parties.
So to your point on accountability here, this from the AFP poll y'all did with YouGov on a potential shutdown, 61% of Americans say shutdowns are bad. Only 16% view them as positive. 45% oppose a wholesale government shutdown. Just 26 support. Overwhelmingly, there's support for accountability reform. 76% support legislation requiring Congress to remain in session until a budget is finished.
76%. What do
Yeah.
76%
Yeah,
of
right.
Americans
That's a big
agree with?
number.
You know, that's a lot.
And in particular, there's a vulnerability among seniors in this country for whoever is to blame for that shutdown because,
Sure.
you know, of course, seniors
Medicare.
typically get more services from the government.
And reliably vote.
Right.
Reliably vote.
Especially in a midterm. They
In a
tend to be-
midterm, in primaries,
Yeah.
they are your voters. And, you know, they're also the ones that are, you know, oftentimes they're the recipients of a lot of the benefits of government services.
Yeah.
And they're going to be disproportionately impacted. The other thing is Democrats, by and large, oppose government shutdowns and always have at a higher rate than Republicans.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, this is bad politics for Chuck Schumer, but it's bad for the country. I mean, we should get this right and go back to the type of policy discussions where I think Republicans have got winning issues that they care about on this. Unfortunately, this stands in the way of everything.
Yeah.
What's up? Oh, go ahead.
I want to ask you, you know, we go through polling a lot on this show, but we go through our comments individually because what our audience says drives what we talk about on this show. And I know you guys at AFP take a similar approach, hitting the doors. You got thousands of people fanning out across the country. So I wonder what they're hearing that sort of supports what these polls are saying.
Yeah, I mean, look, these polls were confirmation for us. You're right. We have conversations in driveways and on doorsteps across this country all the time. Our grassroots are up in arms over this. Like you, we don't have to go to the comments. The comments come to us in a lot of these ways.
Yeah.
And they're very consistent with what the polling has shown us. The American people are demanding that their government actually function, that it do the right thing. They've been excited. They loved One Big Beautiful Bill. They think it gave us a great opportunity to be able to have the kind of tax relief and the type of tax care that they believe the American people need to continue based on the first Trump's tax cuts. I think ultimately they look at this and say, we're not going back to the type of government failure that we saw for 4 years. We need to press forward. And whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you have an expectation of a member of Congress and the President of the United States that you deliver a functioning government. And so that's what we're hearing.
It's a fair point. I do just generally agree. People don't like abject dysfunction in government, right? They see enough of that on a day-to-day basis on cable news and everything else. But I wonder, like in a perfect world, I guess in a perfect world, what you'd like to have happen is Chuck Schumer to say, "You're right, I'm wrong. We're going to throw the CR through and keep working on this other stuff."
Announce his retirement and move on.
Be careful what you wish for.
I know.
That's true.
I
You're
feel
not
like
wrong.
if he did that, that would be the next step. I mean, I think that's why we're here in the first place, right?
Right.
So, like, realistically, how does this thing get worked out, you think?
I think that's a great question. I think hopefully Democrats will have to realize that there's a political consequence that comes with shutting the government down. And the issues that they're going to have to defend on this are going to be substantial, and there'll be political consequences for it. And so I'm hopeful that on this first one, which is a relatively short extension, the way it's talked about right now, getting us closer to Thanksgiving, you know, we can get the government reopened quickly and start getting to the real discussions of what we need to be able to have. And they're going to have to come with more reasonable proposals. I mean, you guys saw the president had invited Democrats to come and talk, but the proposals were so unreasonable that there was no room to be able to have a discussion. They need to come with something real. They need to be able to represent the district that they're from, whether that's Republicans that live in that district, Democrats that live in that district. They need to come with solutions.
And if you doubt how unreasonable they are for a minute, think about the level of unreasonability that it would take for Donald Trump not to invite cameras in to have a discussion with those two.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is like he lives for this stuff. And even he was like, this is not going to be productive.
but the things they're throwing out on their face, like, hey, Republicans, we want hundreds of millions of dollars for NPR and PBS. Come on.
Yeah.
No, get
You
out
just
of here.
waste,
How about
you
just
just
change the date on the
eliminated
bill and fund the
waste,
government?
fraud, and abuse and illegal immigrants from taking advantage of the Medicaid deal, something that people have been working on for 15 years. We'd like you to reverse all of that.
Yeah.
As a triple minority situation. Like, just take our word for it. That's good for the country. It's ridiculous.
I mean, no more tantrum proposals.
Yeah.
We need to have stuff that gives us an opportunity to discuss real issues that people want to see included in legislation, but it can't be the kind of thing where you come into it knowing this is never going to happen.
Do you think we get out of this without a Cory Booker fake filibuster?
No
Maybe
way.
some sort of marathon speech on the floor
They
that does
can't
nothing.
resist.
They love it.
They can't resist.
Theater's open, guys.
The theater's open. Chris Murphy's already putting a costume together.
I'm looking forward to the prop office really getting involved in this fight. That's where things get fun.
Oh, man. Well, it's great. I love that you can give us these upshots because you spend an awful lot of time up there and all your people spend an awful lot of time fanned out through the country. So we get an inside-outside perspective from AFP. Brent Gardner, thank you so much for joining us.
Guy's so smart. I love every time he comes on our show. I mean, he is out there talking to regular people all the time, and he's bringing that straight into Washington. Huge get for the show.
Yeah, it always provides us like critical insight into what is happening under the dome too. So thanks to Brent for that. Remember, we got a question of the day for you, and our question is: should Trump deport the UN? You've heard our take on it. We're interested in yours. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, we read all of them, and we get back to you in the very next show, in this case, Friday. And it's going to be a fun time Friday. We're ready for it. With that, fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thanks so much, Brent Gardner, and thank you to the Minions. Remember, just like Holmes said, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube, hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, Minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you Friday. Stay ruthless.